Erica's teaching.
Hi, Erica. What comes to your mind when you think about adoption? You might wonder what options are available or what your choices are. There's 3 popular choices to adoption. It's a fully open adoption, a semi-open adoption, and there's a totally closed adoption. Adoption should not ever be looked at as a negative choice. It should always be looked as a positive choice.
It's a blessing.
Because you're giving a child that may not be raised in a good home, you're giving that child an opportunity to be raised in a better lifestyle. First off, open adoption is completely open. The biological parents and the birth parents and the child come in full contact. They do maybe yearly visits. They email maybe a couple of times a year. And they also give the biological parents the pictures or any information that the birth parents might want from the adoptive family. They'll get that information. According to adoption.com, open adoptions are becoming more suitable for birth parents because it gives the birth parents a sense of knowing the child and getting to know them as they grow and being able to participate in their life. Not fully participate because the adoptive parents are, raising this child and providing for them, but the birth parents get to be a part of the child's life and get to be informed, and so it doesn't feel like they've lost something. It feels like they're actually involved and they're gaining something from having their child being adopted. Now, the second option, which I feel pertains to myself, would be a semi-open adoption, because that's where you don't come into contact fully with the biological parents. The adoptive family is more private a little bit. They'll send the biological parents photos, letters, postcards. They might, every now and then, they might want to schedule visits. It's just depending. It has more effect on whether the adoptive family wants to let the biological parents see the child or come in contact with them and as much contact. Myself, I have a semi-open adoption because I know who my biological parents are. I've seen them, but I don't share every detail of my life with them. They just know certain details that my mother would share with my biological parent.
Can I show your mom?
And I feel that I have a better life being adopted. I feel that knowing them, I know about them, I know who they are, I know the type of people they are, so I have a sense of closure in order to deal with, being adopted and knowing all the information from my mother, that she told me everything. So I think that's important too for the adoptive families to always have a good relationship with the child. That way the child feels that sense of closure and they feel that sense of security from their family that they're being raised around. Another option that might pertain to some parents would be a closed adoption. A closed adoption would basically mean that you wouldn't have no contact with the child. You wouldn't, basically, you don't expect to receive letters from the adoptive family. You don't expect to know that much information from the adopted family. And it's because that's a choice that you made. You have to be, as a biological parent, you have to be very certain that you want to have your child with another family and you're willing to let go completely, because you'll never be able to see your child again fully closed adoption. It's not like a semi open adoption. It's not like an open adoption where you'll be able to get information. You probably won't ever be able to have information from the adopted family. And the biological parents might feel sadness. They might miss that child, and they might wonder like how that child is doing every now and then. The child, on the other hand, will probably have so many questions. The child will probably think, well, why did the biological parents not want them? Or how come, they're not around? They might see stories on television like you see nowadays, how there's couples that let their child be adopted, but they still get to see that child. They still are involved in that child's life somehow, some way. Which, it's always a good thing to be completely involved, I feel, but if you're not ready, or if you're willing to let go completely of your child, then that's your option. And if you miss them, then that's something that you have to deal with yourself. But the adopted family will probably always be grateful that they were given that chance to have this child and raise it and bring it up to be the man or woman that they've set their goals to. Adoption is a good choice for parents who aren't suitable for parenting a child, who aren't ready, who just don't have the resources to raise a child. It's very expensive to have a child nowadays, and to take care of them, to provide for them, and being able to be a responsible parent. There comes so many responsibilities. You can't just have a child and expect for things to just come. You have to work hard. You have to take care of that child forever. That child's going to always depend on you. So you 18. Have to realize that you have another child, you have a life depending on you as a parent. I myself, I'm a parent. I became a parent very young, and I feel that my child is taken care of very well. I do have help from my family, but my child is being brought up with good values and morals, and that's probably what a person that chooses adoption for their child thinks about. Am I suitable to be a parent right now? Can I raise this child in a good environment? Am I going to be able to provide for him or her? And if they can't, then being able to choose to have them being adopted, whether it be fully open and then being involved and getting to see the child, or whether it be receiving letters or pictures from their child, in the future from the adopted family, then that would be a good thing too. Now, the fully closed adoption is probably maybe the hardest thing a parent would probably have to deal with, not knowing them at all, not ever hearing from them. But they have to maybe wonder, that child will come probably and try to find them to get answers from them. And, they have to also think future-wise. What are they going to do when that child comes to them and asks them questions about everything that happened in their life, to place them with the adopted family. But overall, adoptions should always be looked at as a good thing and in a very positive way, because when you're young, or when you're just not suitable, ready for having a child to depend on you, it's good to know what your options are. And there's a lot of options out there. And today there's so many options when it comes to becoming a parent, what you want to do when you're pregnant, or when you're young, or you know that you're not suitable for it. And I think adoption is a really good one, and it may be tough for some people to deal with, but in the end, all that matters is the child. You have to think about bringing that child into the crazy world that we live in. So it's either you take care of them and you support them the best you can, or you place them with a really loving, caring family that's going to provide for them and it's going to bring them up correctly. And that way, you'll know in your heart that you did the best choice for your child. Whether it be taking care of them fully, or whether it be placing them with an amazing family to help this child bring good morals, values, going to school. Going to school nowadays is the most important thing that you could tell your child to do, because your education is the main thing. So you have to make sure that that child's going to be able to come up in a home that is suitable for them, and that they're going to, okay, I have to go to school because my parents are pushing me to do this, and I know I have to go to college to make the money and have the life that I want. That way, when they get older, they will realize, well, my parents, whether it be their biological or their adopted family, they'll know that they were placed in that home to one day be ready, be suitable, be responsible, and be able to raise their child themselves. That way they don't have to have the option to have another family look after them. But overall, adoption, I feel, is a really good thing to have available for parents who aren't ready to be parents. And that way their child will be brought into the world with a happy, loving family.
Yeah, Erica, Jaime.